Hello everyone and welcome back to Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. So today we're going to be reviewing one of the latest releases from Barrell Craft Spirits. This is their Barrell Bourbon Batch 30. Now this one comes in at 117.32 proof. The mash bill is undisclosed, but was distilled in Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and Wyoming. So it consists of a 5-year Indiana whiskey, a 10-year high-rye Tennessee whiskey, and a group of 6, 9, 11, and 15-year whiskeys. This is definitely something that's a little different from what Barrell has done before, guys. Very excited to get into this one, so without further ado, let's go. Alright guys, welcome back. So typically I try a little bit of this before I go into the review, but I literally just poured this, still only down to about the shoulder level here. So let's go ahead and get into the color. Again, very light, actually really light, honey color. Light honey, decent legs on this one. Not really thick and heavy. Yeah, really nice, just light. Like a very, very light honey color. Let's go ahead and get in the nose. Ooh, that's different. Wow, so there's a lot of brown sugar, but then there's this tropical side to this one. Very interesting nose. Very, very inviting. It's there's almost like a Christmas cake fruitiness to it, but with like pineapple, like a little bit of pineapple, maybe mango. I mean, it's very, very tropical smelling on the nose. Yeah, it's fruit overload on the nose. A little bit of sweet oak in there. A very, very little bit. Then maybe some of that 11 and 15 year that's coming out in this one. Not sure how much of it's in there. There's definitely some a little bit of a darker influence in there as well. Maybe a blackberry, maybe blueberry. Very, very, man, it's really, this is very, very different on the nose from a lot of other Barrell bourbon releases. I really, really like the nose on this. Let's get into the palate, guys. Cheers. Man, so some of those rye spices kick in. This one's very mouth-watering, though. It coats the palate really, really well. A lot of nice oils in this one. There's a nice cherry that's right on the front of the palate, like a cherry pie, like a pie crust influence in there as well, right across the middle of the palate. Going down the hatch there, you get there's definitely some rye spices that kind of trickle along in there. Some of that sweet oak as well. Man, it's oily, very, very oily. I mean, it's just stuck to the sides of my cheek and my tongue, top of my palate. Good first sip, guys. Let's get into the second one. So that sip definitely changed a little bit. So that tropical, those tropical notes that I was getting on the nose, I really don't get any on the palate. It actually kind of tricked me because I was expecting to get a little bit of that on the palate. But man, this one is just super, super oily. Really, that cherry hasn't left. that cherry note that sits on the front of the palate into the mid. And there's like a pie crust that's there too. There's still that sweet oak and some of those rye spices that kind of flow through into the back. It's like those baking spices, it's like nutmeg heaven on this thing. It's just all over from the middle into the back of the palate, mixed with those rye spices, that sweet oak. Man, this is very, very different in a good way. Let's get into the last sip, guys. Cheers. Yeah, again, cherry all day on the front of the palate, like a pie crust. So it's actually like a slight bit of nuttiness that starts to develop across the middle of the palate before you start to hit that rye spice. It's definitely some nuttiness in there now. A lot flowing into the finish, some of that sweet oak, those rye spices, nutmeg all over the palate right now. Very like baking spice forward, while you're still getting some of those fruity notes. Man, so this is very different from what Barrell's release. I mean, some of their past releases. Very, very different on the nose and then profile. I mean, I know they do a lot of blending, but it's very kind of off character. This is fantastic. This is really, really good. They did a superb job at blending this one, without a doubt. A lot of different flavors from the flavor wheel on this one. It kind of pops around everywhere. Those tropical notes, which you really don't get on a lot of things on the nose. I mean, the cherry, the pie crust influence, the tons and tons of nutmeg that just covers the entire palate, the rye spice, the sweet oak that kind of follows through, that nuttiness that kind of really just sat across the middle of the palate. This is something that's very, very different from Barrell, but something that I really, really enjoy. So I want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. I want to send a big thank you to the folks over at Barrell Craft Spirits and Aaron at Robro Marketing for supplying me with the sample to review on the channel. Guys, if you're looking for a barrel product that is very off character, but still extremely flavorful, and will give you those flavor notes that you don't typically get off of the Barrell Bourbon Batches, the Batch 30 is definitely for you. Very oily mouthfeel. Tons of fruit explosion on the nose and on the palate. Again, that nuttiness that kind of popped up on the palate, on the mid palate there. The cherry, the pie crust on the front of the palate, sweet oak, nutmeg. I mean, just I'm actually very, very impressed with the Barrell Batch 30. I will go try to find a bottle of this if I can. But really, I mean, just an outstanding job from Barrell Craft Spirits. Again, thank you very much for sending this sample for me to review on the channel, guys. So if you're looking for more reviews like this, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, bell notification to be alerted of any upcoming reviews or live streams. You'd also find me on Instagram at Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. And until next time, guys, stay dusty.